Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Praetorian and welcome back to my Hearts of Iron 4 updated beginner guide. This is part 2 of that air war tutorial. I knew with all the new changes and just updates to the air system in the game, I was going to forget to cover something, and I did. I forgot to cover something, kind of a major feature. So I wanted to do this second video to cover that, and we'll get into also why I think that this deserves another video as we progress here. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about that feature. That feature is that we can now assign air wings to an army. And what happens with that is that air wing will then follow that army around. It will always operate in areas, air regions where that army is currently fighting in. So it's one way to avoid all the micromanagement, especially on like large fronts. So let's say you're Germany here, and you're invading the Soviet Union, and the front is constantly changing. You have all these different air regions you have to go through, and you can also invade pretty rapidly through that territory, and then you constantly have to move your planes where they're located and where they're operating at, and sometimes you forget. It's a lot of micromanagement, so it's one way to avoid that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, and then I'm going to tell you guys why you shouldn't use it. I know it sounds all good. We'll get into why it's not as good as it sounds. So this is that same British campaign that we're playing, that we were looking at in that last tutorial video. We are a little bit further along than we were in that last one. As you can see, we've taken Greece back. We take that territory in Greece back. Now we're fighting in the mountains over here, and Spain has joined the campaign, and we're attempting to defend the Spanish territories here. With our troops, and the Spanish are, of course, helping out a lot as well, as are the Americans. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go and get these planes assigned to the army. Currently, we just have them operating normally. We're going to assign them to these armies that are operating in Spain. So right now we have this 21 division army right here that is currently defending in the Spanish mountains here. And what we're going to do is we're going to give them some planes. We have 400 planes here, close air support. We're going to give them, and the way we do it, you just select the air wings, and then you just right click on the army that you want them to go to. So we could also send some over to here if we wanted to, into any one of these armies. So what we'll do, we'll take these fighters. We're going to go ahead and give them to the yellow army as well. And you can see how many planes that he has available here. And you can kind of click on them and select the units. As you can see, as we click on this, it shows us exactly how many air wings we have assigned: 400 fighters and 400 close air support, and they're right up here, and they have a little thing here to tell us that that's where they are located. So they'll move around with that army as they change their theaters that they're operating out of. Now, if we wanted to take them away from the army, move them somewhere else, it's as simple as you could just move them over there, and now they're on the red army. Move them back to the yellow army. If you wanted to move them out of armies completely, well, then we would have to actually click on it here, and this, you're about to detach the air wing from the army, and this will remove its current orders. Are you sure? So just click on airbase that it's not currently in, and then it will you'll be able to remove it from control of the army. So some people would ask, is there any bonus to doing so? Does the army get a bonus? The army does not get any bonus from doing that. All this does is essentially remove the micromanagement for the player. So you no longer need to micromanage your air force, which can often be a pain in the butt, especially as I said, in those scenarios like on fast moving large fronts with many air regions. But a few minutes ago I told you guys not to use it. So you may be wondering why not use something that helps reduce the micromanagement of my game. Well, there's two reasons, guys. First of all, you're handing this over, the control of your air force, over to the AI, and we all know that the AI is pretty much incompetent at everything it does. So therefore, it's not going to be managed as well as if you had done it. Now, some things, for instance, when you have offensive lines and you have the army taking territory for you under AI control, once again, they're not going to do it very efficiently, and you're only trying to avoid micromanaging, having to take every single province by hand, with manually controlling each division. So same theory as that. The AI is just going to do it incompetently, but it's a little bit worse than when you put the army under AI control, and I'll tell you why. Once again, there's two reasons why you don't want to do this. Now, the first is that in 1.5, Paradox changed up the way that efficiency works, and I probably should have mentioned this in that last tutorial, guys, but it was another thing that I failed to mention, but it's a minor thing, and that is the fact that efficiency for your air units is no longer just a base value that then gets modifiers to it. The base value has to slowly increase as the air wing operates in that air region, and it slowly increases until it gets to the regular base efficiency. So it's no longer a good idea to move your air units from region to region. Now, this was something that was exploited sometimes in single player, but more than anything in multiplayer, where they would just move their strategic bombers from air region, and then the defending player had to constantly move their fighters, or try and have fighters in every single air region to take care of those strategic bombers. They did it in other places. They did it in other circumstances as well, where players would constantly be moving their air wings to try and exploit the situation, exploit a little mechanic there. So the way that Paradox fixed that is adding this system in there. However, one thing Paradox didn't consider, and I brought this up in their developer diary, I never got a response about it, but the AI constantly moves. Anybody who plays knows the AI is constantly moving their air wings from air region with it makes no sense. They rarely ever keep air wings in a place for very long. They constantly move them around. You never know why they're doing it. It's just the way the AI operates. And before it was whatever. It's what they do. But now with the new efficiency system, this actually hurts the AI quite a bit, because they can never build up their efficiency in an air region because they're constantly moving around. And you'd think with Paradox making this change, they would have fixed the AI so the AI didn't move the air wings around so much, but they didn't. They still do it in 1.5. The AI is still moving the air wings all over the place. And if you give them control of your planes and put them into the unit, as we saw here, which you might notice there's no numbers there. If you wanted to see the numbers again, you need to go into the strategic air mode. You can only see it in the strategic air mode, just I guess to avoid the clutter here. So yeah, if we give these 800 planes to the AI, right now there's only one air region that our army's operating out of, so they're not going to move them all over the place. But if we are only operating in one air region, then we don't need to give it to AI control anyways. We're going to use that mechanic when we're in places with many air regions, such as over here on the Eastern Front. That's where we're going to use it. And so they constantly move them all over the place, and your efficiency is garbage, just like with the AI. Now you could argue, well, the AI already uses that, so you're not really at a handicap, because it's hurting both you, your Air Force, and your enemy's Air Force. So yeah, I guess you could argue that. I personally like having as much efficiency as possible, no matter who I'm playing against. But if you're playing a multiplayer and one player's letting the AI control it and has low efficiency all the time, and the other player doesn't, you are definitely going to lose the air war. So during multiplayer, you definitely don't want to use this mechanic. But during single player, I would say if you want to play competently, I would say don't use it. So that's reason number one. Your efficiency is going to be garbage if you use this in a place with more than one air region. Reason number two is the AI does not put your planes where they're needed most. So one of my campaigns, my campaign is Germany actually, I was invading the Soviet Union, and so we were invading across here, and this was why I was using the AI control of the Air Force. And so I was fighting all across this front here, and I had troops in all of these air regions. I guess we should take a look at the air mode. I had troops here, I had troops over here in the Baltic Sea air region, and we had troops over here in the Eastern Balkans. We were invading all the way across, and I think we were going into Ukraine as well. So we had troops in 3 air regions here, at least 3 to 4 air regions. And as I pushed further east and left the Eastern Poland air region, I noticed that we had a couple divisions here, enemy divisions here, that we were still fighting against, like literally 2 provinces right here that my troops were fighting against, while the rest of that army was fighting in Belarus and the Baltic states. The front was kind of going out along here. So we were in technically one army was in 3 air regions. However, the AI had my entire air force in Eastern Poland, where we were literally fighting in 2 provinces, guys. Just these 2 provinces here. So I had a rather large air force assigned to that army. It was somewhere between like 1,500 to 2,000 planes, and all of them were in Western Poland to support these 2 attacks, and not supporting my troops in the Baltic states, and not supporting the majority of the army that was attacking into Belarus. The entire Air Force was assigned there. So it's for those 2 reasons that I suggest that you don't use this feature, that you don't put your planes under the control of the AI. They're just too incompetent. They just don't do a good enough job. If you don't care at all about efficiency, your Air Force operating at its full capacity, your troops getting the air superiority bonus, getting air support, if you don't care about those things, then sure, put it under the control of the AI. But if you do want your Air Force to be actually helping your army out, then you're going to want to control it yourself. It's micromanagement, part of the game. With something we've been having to deal with, since the game came out, we've had to deal with managing our Air Force. So I don't think it's that big of a penalty to have to micro the Air Force a little bit just so that they actually help out. I think the cost of putting under AI control is just too great, and I would suggest you don't do it, especially not if you're going to be playing multiplayer. I think that would actually result in you losing the air war. So that's going to be it for this video. That's all I wanted to cover, guys, is just to kind of let you know about that feature, because it is a feature that some people would want to know about, and I just completely neglected to cover it, mainly because I don't use it that often. So I think that's why I forgot about it. But yeah, once again, any other questions regarding the Air Force, anything else I missed, let me hear about it, and I might just cover that in a pinned comment if it's just something little. But if it's something big like this that I missed, then yeah, let me know, and maybe we'll have to make a part 3 to cover that. But I think this should be it. This should be all that I missed here, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave that like, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you know whenever I put out further tutorials. We're going to be having several more coming out here in the coming weeks, as I try and get all the new stuff added into that beginner guide. If you're watching this and you haven't seen part 1 of my Air War tutorial, then go check that out. That covers a lot more than this. This is obviously just covering that one feature. All the rest of the stuff is covered in that, I think it's like a 40-something minute tutorial. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.